The night they dropped into hell, February 27th, 1943, 00:47 a.m., over the Hardanger Plateau, Norway. The Halifax bomber claws through the black sky at 1,500 feet, engines snarling against a 90-knot headwind. Ice crystals lash the windshield like buckshot. Inside the freezing fuselage, 9 men sit in silence, faces blackened with burnt cork, wool caps pulled low. No one speaks. The only sound is the creak of parachutes and the metallic clatter of toggles frozen stiff. Joachim Ronenberg, 23 years old, lieutenant in the Norwegian Independent Company No. 1, checks the altimeter on his wrist for the 10th time. The red needle trembles. Too low. Far too low. The pilot had promised 800 feet for a safe static line jump. They're barely above the ridge lines. One mistake, and they'll smash into rock and snow at 120 miles an hour. The red light snaps on. Ronenberg stands first. Behind him, Knut Haukelid, the explosives wizard with the calm eyes of a man who's already accepted death. Birger Stromsheim, the quiet skier from Telemark who knows every ravine. Klaus Hellberg, the reckless mountaineer grinning like this is a Sunday hike. Jens Anton Poulsen, already half-frozen leader of the advance party, waiting somewhere down there in the white void, and 4 others packed so tight their breath mingles in a single cloud. Green light. Ronenberg throws himself into the storm. For 3 endless seconds, he falls through darkness and screaming wind, then the canopy rips open with a crack that feels like a rifle shot. Below him, the plateau is a sea of nothing. No lights, no horizon, just swirling snow and the faint silver of moon on ice. The ground rushes up faster than it should. He hits hard, knees buckling, skis still strapped to his back clattering like bones. The chute drags him 20 yards across bullet-hard snow before he kills it.
One by one, the others slam down around him. A parachute snags on a rock outcrop. Someone swears in Norwegian. Another man lands in a drift up to his chest and comes up spitting ice. But they're all alive. 9 silhouettes against the blizzard. Rifles raised, scanning for the enemy that owns this frozen kingdom. Then the radio crackles. A voice from the void. Poulsen, the advance team, 4 months already on the plateau, starving, frostbitten, waiting. Welcome to hell, boys. We've got your position. Stay alive until dawn. Ronenberg clips on his white camouflage smock, shoulders the 70-pound Bergen rucksack, and clicks into his skis. The temperature is -30 Celsius. Their beards are already stiff with rime. They have 400 kilometers to ski through occupied Norway, across a plateau the Germans call the roof of Europe, to reach a factory buried inside a mountain gorge. Inside that factory, tanks of heavy water, Hitler's last hope for an atomic bomb. And somewhere out there in the dark, the Abwehr and the Gestapo are already hunting them. They push off into the storm. You've just landed with them. Your fingers are already going numb. Your eyelashes freeze shut every time you blink. And you haven't even started the real mission yet.
4 months of starving on the roof of Europe. The Swallow team's long wait. October 1942. 4 months before Ronenberg's boots touch snow. Jens Anton Poulsen, Knut Haugland, Arne Kalestrup, and Klaus Hellberg, 4 men who call themselves Operation Swallow, are already living like ghosts on the Hardanger Plateau for 127 days. Their base is a 1-room hunter's hut no bigger than a garden shed, buried under 6 feet of snow, 1,200 meters above sea level.
Inside, a tiny Primus stove that hisses like a snake, reindeer skins black with smoke, and the constant smell of wet wool and unwashed bodies. They eat once a day if they're lucky, a fistful of powdered milk, a square of chocolate the size of a matchbox, and lichen scraped off rocks when the reindeer meat runs out. Poulsen's weight has dropped from 78 kilos to 54. Their gums bleed, their fingernails split. Every morning they chip ice from the doorway with a bayonet just to crawl outside and piss. But every night, no matter how weak, one of them skis 5 kilometers through whiteout to a ridge called Sveinskarvet and transmits a single coded message to London on a hand-cranked radio the size of a suitcase. Snow excellent. Germans quiet. Factory still producing. Send Gunnerside. London's reply is always the same. Wait. They wait. Through November blizzards that erase the sun for weeks. They wait while their toes turn black with frostbite. They wait while Norwegian informers in the valleys collect 5,000 kroner bounties for every British-trained saboteur turned in. And then, on the night of February 27, 1943, the miracle happens. A faint voice breaks through the static on Haugland's receiver. Operation Gunnerside has landed. 9 men, all safe, heading for you.
Poulsen drops the tin cup he's been nursing for warmth. It clatters on the frozen floorboards. 4 months of slow death, and now the cavalry has fallen out of the sky. But joy lasts exactly 3 seconds, because the plateau is crawling with German ski patrols. 2 weeks earlier, Operation Freshman, 34 British commandos in 2 Horsa gliders tried the easy route. Both gliders crashed. The survivors were captured, interrogated with pliers, and executed under Hitler's infamous commando order. If Ronneberg's 9 men are discovered before they link up, the entire mission dies in the snow. Poulsen pulls on his frozen boots, ties the laces with fingers that no longer bend properly, and looks at his 3 skeletal comrades. Time to go fetch our reinforcements before the Germans do. They step out into -42 Celsius and disappear into the night, 4 living skeletons skiing toward 9 exhausted paratroopers who still don't know that the real hell hasn't even started. 1 wrong turn, 1 patrol, 1 barking dog in a mountain farm, and Hitler keeps his heavy water.
The wind is a living thing now. It screams across the plateau at 120 kilometers an hour, driving needles of ice horizontally into any exposed skin. Visibility, 3 meters, maybe 2. Ronenberg's 9 men have been skiing for 5 straight days and nights since the drop. They navigate by compass alone. No stars, no sun, no landmarks. Their world is white pain. Lips split and bleed. Eyelids swell shut. Every breath is razor blades. They are supposed to meet Poulsen's swallow team at a frozen lake called Skrikenvatnet. But the map is a lie in this weather. Nothing matches. The lake could be anywhere. Then, out of the swirling white, a single ski track appears cutting across their path. Fresh, heading north-northwest. Ronenberg raises a frozen mitten. The column halts.
Knut Haukeli drops to his knees, studies the track like a hunter reading blood. Norwegian binding, military ski, 1 man, heavy pack, less than 2 hours old. It can only be Swallow. They follow the track at double speed, hearts hammering for the first time in days with something other than cold. An hour later, shapes materialize. 4 figures in white smocks, beards down to their chests, cheekbones sharp as knives. They look like the dead come to greet them. Palsson and Renneberg embrace without a word, two Norwegian lieutenants who have never met, now clutching each other like brothers in the middle of a hurricane. No time for celebration. Palsson's voice is a croak. Germans have tripled the guard at Vemork since freshmen failed. 200 men now, searchlights, minefields on the bridge, patrols every hour. He pulls out a hand-drawn map on reindeer skin, fingers trembling so badly that the pencil scratches blood. The only way left is the gorge, 500 feet straight down ice. Germans say it's impossible, they don't even guard the bottom. Renneberg studies the map, then looks up at the 12 men around him, 12 Norwegians who together weigh less than a single well-fed German company. Impossible is exactly what they came for. They shake hands all around, no speeches, no salutes, just the quiet understanding that if they fail, Britain burns. Then the blizzard swallows them again, 13 ghosts skiing south toward the cliff that has killed better climbers than them. Behind them, the faint howl of dogs, far away but getting closer. German mountain troops have found the parachute canopies. The hunt is on.
The gorge drops away like the edge of the world. 500 feet of black ice, sheer as a cathedral wall, lit only by a thin moon that turns the frozen waterfall into a blade of silver. The Mana River roars far below, a dull thunder trapped between cliffs. The air itself feels heavier here, thick with spray that freezes the instant it touches skin. Renneberg stands at the lip, wind ripping at his smock, staring down. The Germans call this route unmöglich. They are so certain no human can climb it that they guard only the bridge half a mile upstream and the road above. A single sentry box on the far side, one bored private with a thermos of ersatz coffee. 13 men lie prone in the snow, watching the factory lights glow across the void. Vemork hydroelectric plant, 7 stories of concrete built into the cliff itself, windows blazing like the eyes of something awake and evil. Inside those walls, the high concentration plant. 18 steel tanks full of heavy water, deuterium oxide, the one substance on Earth that can turn Hitler's uranium into a working bomb. Renneberg turns to the team. We go down, we go in, we blow the tanks, we come back up the same way. No shooting unless we have no choice. Questions? Silence. Only the wind answers. They rope together like mountaineers, Renneberg at the front, Haukelid bringing up the rear with the explosives. Ice axes bite into glass-hard ice. Every hammer blow rings out like a gunshot. They pray the river noise swallows it. Halfway down, Klaus Hellberg's axe glances off. He swings out into space, dangling on the rope, boots scraping for purchase. 30 kilos of TNT in his pack pull him like an anchor. For 10 endless seconds, he hangs above certain death. Then, Birger Stromsheim leans out, grabs his collar with frostbitten fingers, hauls him back to the wall. No one speaks. They just keep climbing downward.
At the bottom, they land on a narrow ledge no wider than a man's foot. The cliff behind them, the river in front. The only way forward, a single railway track that snakes along the gorge floor straight to the factory's back door. They move in absolute silence, boots wrapped in rags, rifles slung. The cold is so intense their breath doesn't even fog. It crystallizes and falls like diamond dust. 200 meters ahead, a faint orange dot, the sentry's cigarette. One man with a Mauser who could end the entire war with a single shout. Renneberg raises a hand. The column freezes. You can feel your own heart right now, can't you? 13 lives balanced on the next 30 seconds. The cigarette arcs into the river and dies. The sentry turns away to light another. Renneberg waves them forward. They slip past him so close they smell the tobacco on his breath. 20 meters to the factory door. The explosion that will cripple Hitler's bomb is now only minutes away. and none of them have any idea whether they will ever climb back out alive.
Inside the dragon's belly, 0030 a.m., 28 February 1943, Vemork High Concentration Plant. The door is unlocked. Runneberg almost laughs at the absurdity. All of Norway is a fortress, yet the back door to Hitler's most precious factory hangs open for the night shift to drag in coal. They slip inside like smoke. The heat hits them first, sudden and obscene after weeks of Arctic hell. It burns their frozen faces. Steam hisses from pipes overhead. The air reeks of chemicals and hot iron. Fluorescent lights buzz, harsh after months of darkness. 2 teams now. Covering team 6 men takes positions. Paulsen and Haugland at the door. Helberg and others crouched in the shadows, Sten guns ready. One burst of gunfire and the whole gorge wakes up. Demolition team, Ronneberg, Haukelid, Stromheim, Idland, and Kaiser moves deeper. They descend a steel staircase slick with condensation. The noise is deafening, turbines thundering below, pumps clanking, valves hissing like dragons. Perfect cover. At the bottom, a narrow corridor. A sign in German, Zutritt streng verboten. A Norwegian civilian worker in blue overalls walks toward them, whistling, carrying a lunch pail. He freezes when he sees the blackened faces and British weapons. Ronneberg puts a finger to his lips. The man's eyes widen in recognition. Saboteurs, not Germans. He nods once slowly, then turns on his heel and walks the other way without a word. A quiet hero who will never be named. They reach the target room.
18 stainless steel cylinders, each 2 meters tall, arranged in 2 rows like organ pipes. Placards read, D2O Hochkonzentrat. 3,000 liters of the rarest liquid on Earth. Enough, if shipped to Germany, to let Heisenberg finish the bomb by 1944. Haukelid is already on his knees, pulling sausage-shaped charges from his pack, 2 kilograms of British plastic explosive molded around each tank's critical valve. 30-second fuses, shaped just enough to crack the cells without collapsing the entire building. Ronberg and Stromsheim keep watch at the door. Somewhere above, a German voice shouts in the distance, routine, nothing more. Still, every second inside feels like borrowing time from the gallows. Haukelid whispers, voice calm as a surgeon. Charge is set. 18 primaries, 18 secondaries. If one fails, the backup takes it. He clips the final fuse, pulls the ring. A soft click. Then the low hiss of burning cortex. 30 seconds. They move, fast but not running, never running. Back up the stairs, past the humming turbines, toward the exit. 20 seconds. They reach the covering team. Poulsen's eyes ask the question. Ronberg nods once. 10 seconds. They are already outside, back on the railway track, the cold slapping them awake again. 0. Nothing happens. For one heartbeat, the world holds its breath. Then a muffled whump, deep, almost gentle, followed by the crystalline crash of steel splitting and 3,000 liters of heavy water gushing across concrete like liquid starlight. No Hollywood fireball, just the quiet, perfect death of a nightmare. Searchlights snap on across the gorge. Alarms begin to wail. Dogs bark furiously on the bridge. But the 13 Norwegians are already gone, swallowed again by the black ice wall they came down. Now comes the part no plan ever truly covers: getting out alive.
The gorge is awake now. Searchlights rake the cliffs like white-hot knives. Tracer rounds from the bridge stitch red lines across the sky. Somewhere above, A German officer screams orders that echo down the rock face. Sperk die Brücke, Jäger Battalion raus, Saboteur im Werk. And still the 13 men must climb. Back up the same 500-foot wall of ice they descended an hour ago. Only now their hands are slick with sweat inside frozen mittens, their legs trembling from adrenaline and exhaustion, and every hammer blow of an ice axe rings out like a dinner bell for the troops pouring into the gorge. Ronneberg goes first again, driving his crampons into the wall, hauling himself hand over hand on the fixed rope they left dangling. The rope is glazed with new ice. It cuts through gloves like wire. Blood leaves dark streaks that freeze instantly. Behind him, Frederick Kaiser, 25 years old, the youngest, is struggling. His fingers no longer work. He hangs limp, 30 meters up, whimpering through clenched teeth. Hockelid climbs back down, yes, down, into the searchlight glare, wraps an arm around Kaiser's chest, and literally carries him upward, one arm on the rope, one arm holding a grown man. Halfway up, a flare bursts overhead, bathing the entire cliff in magnesium daylight. For 10 eternal seconds, every man is perfectly illuminated. Black figures pinned against the shining ice like insects on a specimen board. Machine gun fire chatters from the bridge. Bullets whine off rock and ice, throwing up geysers of splinters. Strumsheim takes a round through the fleshy part of his thigh. He grunts once, ties his belt around it, and keeps climbing. No one stops. Stopping is death. At the top, Paulsen and Hellberg lie flat, reaching down to haul the others over the lip one by one. When Kaiser finally collapses onto the snow, Hockelid rolls beside him, chest heaving, both men laughing and crying at the same time because they are still alive. They cut the ropes behind them, let the Germans wonder how ghosts climb air. 200 meters away, German ski troops are already fanning out from the plant, headlamps bobbing like fireflies. Dogs strain at leashes, noses full of Norwegian sweat and British explosives. Ronneberg looks at his watch. 01:47. They have perhaps 10 minutes before the hunters reach the cliff top. The only way out now is 400 kilometers across the most heavily patrolled country in Europe in winter, with every garrison from Oslo to Trondheim screaming for their heads. And they have to do it before their bodies finally give out. Ronneberg clicks into his skis, looks at the 12 blood-stained, frost-blackened faces around him, and says the only thing left to say: home before Easter. They push off into the night, 13 streaks of white against white, heading for a Sweden that suddenly feels a lifetime away.
Behind them, the Vemork plant burns with frantic lights, alarms still howling into empty air. Hitler's atomic bomb program is bleeding out on a concrete floor 7 stories below, and the men who killed it are already becoming legend. 400 kilometers of hunger, frostbite, and wolves. The longest ski chase in history, 28th February to 12th April 1943, Hardanger Plateau to the Swedish border. They ski by night, hide by day, moving only when the blizzard hides them or the darkness swallows their tracks. 400 kilometers, 14 days and nights without a single fire because smoke is a death sentence. Food runs out on day 3. They eat bark, moss, a single reindeer they shoot and devour raw because cooking would betray them. Their tongues swell from vitamin deficiency. Teeth loosen. Frostbite claims toes in black patches no one dares look at. German patrols are everywhere now. Mountain troops on skis, Luftwaffe spotter planes droning overhead at dawn, dogs that never tire.
The reward for the saboteurs' heads is 100,000 kroner each, dead or alive. Quisling's newspapers scream, Jusling terrorists murdered loyal Norwegian workers. They killed no one, not a single guard. Klaus Hellberg is separated on the fifth night when a patrol stumbles across their hiding place. Machine gun fire rips the snow. Hellberg skis straight down a slope no sane man would attempt, jumps a 15-foot crevasse, and disappears. The others believe he is dead. He isn't. He skis alone for 11 days, evades 3 checkpoints, steals a German staff car in Yukon just to drive through a roadblock waving cheerfully at the sentries, then abandons it and walks into Sweden looking like a scarecrow with a grin. The remaining 12 press on. On the 9th night, they reach a mountain, only to find it occupied by 30 German soldiers billeted for the winter. They lie outside in the snow, 30 meters from warmth and food, listening to the enemy singing drinking songs, too weak to move until the moon sets. Renneberg's beard is solid ice. His cheekbones look carved from oak. He no longer feels cold, only a strange floating lightness that he knows is the beginning of the end. At one point they cross a frozen lake under northern lights so bright that the snow glows green. For a moment the pain stops. They ski in silence under curtains of fire in the sky, 13 tiny figures carrying the fate of the free world on broken bodies. On 12 April 1943, 44 days after the drop, the last 9, 4 had already slipped across earlier, ski over a ridge and see a wooden border post painted yellow and blue. Sweden. Neutral ground. They collapse in the snow and cry like children. Behind them, in Berlin, Werner Heisenberg receives the telegram, Vemork high concentration plant destroyed, all heavy water lost, program delayed indefinitely. Adolf Hitler stares at the same message, slams his fist on the table, and screams that the Norwegians will pay with blood. They never do.
Because 9 men, later 13 when the full team is counted, skied into Nazi hell with ice in their beards and dynamite in their packs, and came back out carrying the one thing Hitler could never replace: time. The atomic bomb that might have fallen on London, on Moscow, on the beaches of Normandy, never leaves the drawing board. The war turns on a frozen mountain, saved by the quietest heroes the world has ever known. And somewhere, in Stockholm, in April 1943, 13 exhausted Norwegians raise a single glass of aquavit to the midnight sun that finally feels warm.